The Sonic the Hedgehog franchise has been a staple of gaming culture since the early 1990s, boasting a colorful cast of anthropomorphic heroes and villains, high-speed gameplay, and a devoted global fanbase. However, when Sonic transitioned into anime form with Sonic X, 2003, one human character stirred widespread debate and discontent among fans: Chris Thorndyke. While Sonic X was praised for its action and faithfulness to the game's narratives, especially in later seasons, Chris remains one of the most polarizing elements of the show. So, why do so many Sonic fans dislike Chris Thorndyke? The reasons are numerous, spanning from narrative choices and character design to thematic clashes and fan expectations. This video will explore these reasons in depth, shedding light on how a single character became such a divisive figure within a beloved franchise. One of the most common grievances about Chris Thorndyke is that he frequently steals the narrative spotlight from the very characters fans tuned in to see: Sonic and his friends. Sonic X ostensibly centers on the adventures of Sonic and his allies in a human world, but early episodes and entire story arcs heavily focus on Chris's emotions, background, and growth, or lack thereof. In a show where fans expected Sonic's heroism, Tails' inventions, Knuckles' grumpiness, and Eggman's schemes to be front and center, being consistently redirected to Chris's school life and family drama felt like a betrayal. This issue is amplified by the fact that Sonic is often depicted as a passive character, reacting more than acting, particularly in the earlier episodes. Fans found it frustrating to see their favorite characters relegated to supporting roles in favor of an original character with no game origins or established lore significance. Another major complaint lies in the emotional weight that the writers tried to place on Chris. The show frequently positions Chris as a deeply lonely and sympathetic figure, an emotionally neglected boy from a rich family who finds true friendship in Sonic and the gang. While this premise could have been compelling, many fans found the execution to be overly melodramatic and unearned. Chris's emotional outbursts, particularly his attachment to Sonic, often feel forced or inappropriate for the context. The most infamous example comes during the Meta-X Saga Season 3, when Chris, now a teenager, uses advanced technology to travel to Sonic's world, only to become an awkward, unnecessary addition to an otherwise action-heavy and emotionally mature storyline. His reluctance to let Sonic go at the end of Season 2 is another moment often criticized for being overly clingy, dramatic, and undermining Sonic's heroic arc. Chris's character traits are another source of criticism. He is often portrayed as emotionally needy, impulsive, and overly dependent on Sonic. His development across the series is inconsistent. In Season 1, he's introduced as a caring, brave kid, but by Season 2 and 3, his clinginess to Sonic becomes grating. Many fans feel that Chris never earns his place among the cast through action or growth, but rather because the story insists on his importance. Unlike characters like Tails, who grow in confidence and independence, or Knuckles, who learns to balance his solitary nature with teamwork, Chris rarely changes in meaningful ways. He often acts as an emotional anchor, dragging the pace of a story down and stalling the momentum with personal dilemmas that feel out of place in the larger narrative. Perhaps one of the most fundamental issues is that Chris simply doesn't fit well into the Sonic universe. Sonic's world is a fast-paced, colorful, and often surreal realm filled with talking animals, chaotic villains, and power rings. Chris, by contrast, represents a grounded, very human emotional reality that clashes with the fantastical tone of the franchise. This tonal mismatch is especially noticeable in arcs where the narrative stakes rise. For example, during the adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2, which features dark themes like sacrifice, betrayal, and redemption, Chris's emotional interjections often undercut the intensity of the story. Many fans felt that he was in the way rather than contributing meaningfully. Another layer of frustration is the sense of missed potential. Sonic X had the opportunity to explore the rich lore and character dynamics already present in the games. Instead of focusing on game original characters like Shadow, Rouge, or even developing lesser-known heroes like Cream or Big, the anime centered a large portion of its narrative around a non-canon character. This choice felt baffling to fans who had long-standing attachments to the original cast. While some human characters in Sonic media, like Dr. Eggman or even Professor Gerald Robotnik, are memorable and lore-rich, Chris felt like an imposed narrative device rather than a naturally integrated part of the world. Over the years, Chris Thorndyke has become somewhat of a meme or symbol for poorly inserted original characters. Fan works, reviews, and commentaries frequently point to him as an example of how not to introduce a new character into an established universe. His reputation has been shaped not just by the anime itself, but also by the broader culture of fan disappointment and critique. Some defenders of Chris argue that his character was necessary to bridge Sonic's world with the human world and to make the story relatable to younger viewers. However, the overwhelming response from longtime Sonic fans is that he detracted from the core elements that made the franchise exciting in the first place. Chris Thorndyke stands as a cautionary tale of what happens when storytelling priorities drift too far from the source material's strengths. While Sonic X brought Sonic's world to life in a vibrant and sometimes thrilling way, Chris's overexposure, emotional weight, and narrative dominance alienated many fans who simply wanted to see their favorite Blue Blur in action. Whether seen as a misguided narrative experiment or a symbol of executive interference, Chris Thorndyke's legacy is one of controversy and frustration, an outlier in a franchise built on speed, adventure, and friendship.